Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
The White House is moving forward with a Trump RX website to sell medicine at lower prices following an agreement with Pfizer. What are your thoughts? I'm mostly thinking about Jimmy Carter putting his peanut farm into a blind trust so as to avoid the merest hint of profiting from being president. My favorite Onion headline ever. I had to sell my fucking peanut farm because of you people. I forget if it's that vulgar, but that's how I always read it. Lol, yeah, I recalled that one too. Classic Onion. Just nailed the whole thing of Carter bending over backwards with his peanut farm, while now it feels like nobody even bothers with that level of ethics anymore. Duck with me ever since. CostPlusDrugs.com is Mark Cuban's site for actual generics and actual decent, intelligent, sensible billionaire doing something good. Great option for people with no health care plan or a high deductible they know they won't ever hit. Cuban's website is super easy and very transparent. Convenient home delivery. Went from paying $70 per mo for generic thyroid medicine to around $7 for 90 days. My blood pressure and cholesterol medications are 1/3 the cost on Cost Plus Drugs than they were when I used insurance. Our medical environment is truly awful here. The grift keeps on grifting. Turns out nationalizing pharma is possible under capitalism as long as the wealth created by doing so is funneled to a dictator's personal hoard instead of the American public. This is tyranny. Does the Constitution mean anything anymore? Emolument clauses be damned. No, it does not. Don't know what you do when all three branches decide they won't follow it. Nothing. The US walked into this with eyes wide open and will not enjoy most of it. What's his cut? 50% of the profit, and he stops that pesky FDA from making it hard to sell drugs. Also, how safe will our prescription information be? This is the real question. With access to prescriptions comes access to medical diagnosis. I'd say he isn't allowed to use the presidency to enrich himself or his family, but that went out the door long ago. I remember the Hatch Act being cited a lot during his first term. Whatever happened to that? Dems went into wait it out mode because the only move they know is fundraising and waiting for midterms. History isn't going to be kind of anyone in government right now. I wish our media would cover him like he was a Democrat. Exactly. Where are all the Fox News hosts who called Obama a narcissist for supposedly naming the Affordable Care Act Obamacare? Now we have shitty Trump RX. Obama didn't name the ACA Obamacare. The right did that to try to make the policy seem like evil brawl socialism. Here's a news article about it. https://www.nbcnews.com/health/health-news/trump-announce-deal-pfizer-lower-drug-prices-RCNA 234679. Basically, the government will exclude Pfizer from 100% tariffs if they sell drugs at most favored nation prices, aka what you pay in other wealthy nations, so not like super low prices. I think the sale would only be allowed through this government site, which despite the name seems to be a gov site. Who knows? No details provided. I assume other big pharma companies would be welcome to join. My thoughts: it's not going to lower healthcare costs in America, as it's only going to help people without insurance, making really expensive medication only pretty expensive. There's already quite a few private pharmacy businesses doing an alright job at that. Cuban's online pharmacy, GoodRx, and Walmart for example. So, anti-free market, but that's never really bothered this Republican administration. It wouldn't make my top 25 bad things that Trump has done, but slapping his name on it is tacky and may backfire, as I can't imagine it's going to work well. I reserve the right to raise it on my bad shit list as more details are revealed. I would think Cuban would have a really good lawsuit. If Trump's company gets tariff waivers for selling drugs at low cost, then so should any other company that does it. This isn't Trump's company, it's a government program that's just being branded with the Trump name. I think I remember when Amazon sold used books for cheaper than used bookstores. Now a lot of the used bookstores are gone, and Amazon can charge whatever the hell they want. Which, it turns out, is not still cheaper than the bookstores did. But I'd love to hear someone explain to me why the party of small government, that has constantly railed about how the government has no business interfering in people's health care, is now letting that health care be monopolized by the federal government. They can't do anything to provide more health care, but taking a lot of it away and refusing to dole it out unless the people grovel for it is okay. Some people have only ever stood up at all so that people can tell that they have chosen to fall to their knees. It's an info grab. They want to know who is on what medication to make further terrible changes. For real. Have no worries, friend. Fill your meds for all your psychiatric needs here so we can get you on a list for a trip to death record / happy fun places. Like, I know they could just hack major medical providers and get this info, if they haven't already, but they would have to be careful not to mention it. This way is all legit with people, I'm assuming, agreeing to terms and conditions. Despite some of the hacks and data released by medical providers so far, I still trust them with my info over this administration. Same reason I don't use the Amazon pharmacy. Fuck Pfizer now too. It should have been, fuck Pfizer, all along, friend. They've lobbied to keep drug prices so high in the US. Fuck big corporations and their lobbying. Imagine if a Democrat did this. The GOP would be losing their minds, frothing like rabid dogs, rambling about how the government has no business doing this. Truly such hypocrisy from Trump and his administration. Grift. Mark Cuban and Amazon already do this. BTW Mark Cuban cost plus drugs is fantastic. If you take meds, check it out. More lies from the orange draft dodger and traitor. There's already a website you can use to get extremely affordable RX drugs. It's called Cost Plus Drugs, which sounds dumb and scammy, but it isn't. It was started by Mark Cuban with the sole goal being to source cheap generics of hard-to-afford drugs and offer them to the public at cost plus 15%. No insurance, no bullshit. This website literally saves lives. Tell your friends. Is this why they pardoned the Silk Road guy? To get tips? Yeah, with Trump's outspoken hatred for illegal drugs, I was surprised to see this pardon. I never dug into the story, but whatever happened, I'm sure pardoning the guy benefits Trump in some way. It was probably a favor for Elon based on the timing, that was always my guess. I can't wait to see the 1,000% price cuts. 14,000% in some cases. Behind all the smoke and mirrors is missing the point that other countries negotiated their prices with pharma companies decades ago, and insurance companies don't pay for the drugs and then screw the customer for it. I'm in Ireland and the max we pay for prescriptions is €220 a month. I know people on 5 different life-saving treatments that pay nothing. But what do we know? We are just European socialists freeloading on US pharma companies. The joke is that you can't cut prices more than 100% because otherwise they'd be paying you. Thanks. Remember when Jimmy Carter had to put his little peanut farm into a trust in order to avoid even the appearance of profiting from the presidency? Yeah, don't tell me that it's impossible to stop shit like this. Just another way of the con man, rapist, pedophile, felon can weasel more money out of the American people. How much is he getting? The article one read said nothing about Trump owning it, he's just using his name, which is tacky, but it's owned by the federal government. Is there any more information available as to like what the company is that's actually providing the medications, or is the Trump RX simply a marketing tool? Like, is it a company that is owned by Trump or a member of his family that is using the power of the government to obtain the drugs at a significantly cheaper price point to then sell at a profit while undercutting the private market? I seem to recall during the Obama years that the Republican rebuttal to a public option being included in the ACA was that the government should not be allowed to provide the same or better service at a lower price to undercut the private markets. Double standards are the only standards they have. Is there any more information available as to like what the company is that's actually providing the medications, or is the Trump RX simply a marketing tool? As far as I can tell, it's just an agreement between Pfizer and Medicaid that Pfizer will sell the drugs at significant cost reductions. The phrase, most favored nation, is used, and I believe that means getting the cost at basically third world prices. In the end, the cost savings is to our deficit, and at most Trump gets his name on something good, but as you can see in this thread, they are not understanding it or lying to make him look bad. Hopefully this will get applied to Medicare and or the VA as well, but Medicare might be too much of a cash cow to get that pricing. You have to admit having his name on the website is trashy though. But Zoran Mamdani saying NYC should run some grocery stores is socialism. In stock, Viagra, herbal remedies, drive. Oz's thing. Not in stock, Plan B, birth control for women, Adderall. I dunno that the serial CHLD rapist-in-chief really needs another reason to keep drug prices so high, but he was already doing that, so more grift doesn't really change it, I suppose. So the government can break HIPAA and know who takes what. Does Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE break HIPAA? How is this different? I do not think the prices will be lower, but they'll say they are lower. And half of this country will believe. Why do they can legally track what medications everyone is on? And make money grifting at the same time. Last thing I'm doing is buying medicine from our administration where RFK Jr. is in a position of power. He's dying of jealousy that there's something called Obamacare, so he desperately needs to create something like Trump RUs. He's dying of jealousy that there's something called Obamacare. Then he should be angry in Republicans and Fox for calling it that. Because that's not what it's called. Obamacare is the name they gave the Affordable Care Act in an effort to demean it. Yes, I remember that the Republicans derisively called it Obamacare, and Obama responded, "I kinda like that name." But there isn't anything called Obamacare. The people downvoting you are idiots. Louder, for the people in the back, there is no such thing as Obamacare. There's the Affordable Care Act, which conservatives promptly called Obamacare. This is a snarky nickname coined by opponents of the bill, not the actual name of the law or the program. His ego is fucking bottomless. And we're all just waiting for him to bottom out. Hope Cuban undercuts him on every item. I wouldn't trust anything with that name on it, especially medicine. Death is a preferable option to ingesting anything with his mark on it. If the medicine will help people, I'm all for it. I just love the idea of sending the feds my medical records. This is the greed they spoke about in the Bible.